بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله الأمين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Say sallallahu alayhi wasallam, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. On Thursday we have revised together on a worksheet on Classera for the exam that we're going to sit for on Sunday. And today I'm going to record this video to revise it with you again and to re-explain what I felt like it was hard for you. Okay, but the exam is going to be so easy. For that, as usual, I have only 10 minutes, so I have to be quick, and I'm going to re-explain everything. Even if you haven't done the exam or the revision on Classera, I would like to remind you of the password. The password is A capital, Q capital, I capital, S capital, 3 without spaces. Okay. Even if you haven't done it, okay, just watch this video over and over again, put on your headphones, okay, just like log on to YouTube, to my channel, and watch it over and over again. Okay, it's gonna be a good revision for you, and tomorrow before the exam, please revise with this video. Okay, so let's start. Here we're going to start with the comprehension, of course, the comprehension questions. Of course, our story is The Midnight Ride of Paul Riveri, which is a poem, of course, and it's a poem that you have loved. Okay, so what is the genre of the story? Of course, it's a poem. Okay, and if he's going to ask you in the exam what is a poem, so it's a set of arranged lines, okay, that have either rhyme or rhythm or both. Okay, and we have repeated this over and over again in each session, which is so easy. Then, number two, the war was between the USA and France, the USA and Britain, or the USA and Mexico. Of course, it was between the USA and Britain, but back at that time, it was not called the USA. There was only 13 colonies, okay? They made like a union, okay? It was the first union for the United States of America. Today we have 54 states. Back those days, Britain and the crown in Britain, okay, it was a huge empire. Okay, those states, they belonged to Britain, and the crown wanted more money. Okay, so they imposed new taxes. Okay, but the 13 colonies, they refused to pay those taxes because they didn't even have enough money to pay to the Great Britain, and that's why the war started. So I'm reminding you of almost everything. Okay, so the story took place in Latin America, of course not. In the United States of America, of course. In the United States of America. In China, no. In Ireland, of course, no. What was the role of Paul Reveri's friend? Pay attention, here we have a possession. We are not talking about Paul Riveri. We all know that the role of Paul Riveri is to spread the news that the British are coming either by land or by sea, according to the signals. But what was the role of Paul Riveri's friend, if you remember, who climbed the church, the belfry of the church, the highest place, okay, and who was there? He's going to do what? He's going to spy on the British army, okay, from that high place, okay, because they are on one shore, okay, and he's going to give a signal with a lantern, okay, of light. He's going to give a signal to Paul Reveri. So pay attention in the exam. If he's going to ask you about Paul Reveri's role, then talk about Paul Reveri. If he's going to ask you about Paul Reveri's friend role, then his friend was to climb the church and to use the lantern to give the signal. It's not to ride his steed and spread the news about the British soldiers. That was the role of Paul Reveri himself. Or to kill the British general. We didn't have that in the poem. So, one light signal means the British are coming by sea. Of course, false. Two light signals means that the British are coming by sea. Okay? Paul Reveri was ready to spread the news. Of course, true. You remember, there is a stanza when we have said he was booted and he was so anxious to ride that steed to go and spread the news. Booted. To be booted is to put on your boots or to be ready. The expression red coats refers to the. Does it refer to the American Army or the British Army? Of course, the British Army. So the American Army, it was called the Blue Coats, okay? Because those British soldiers, they were wearing like red coats. Paul Riveri succeeded in delivering his midnight message. Of course, he did. And our last question was, how did they honor him? And you answered, they gave him a medal. They like gave him money. And I told you that you have to pay more attention, to think critically. How did they honor him? By writing that poem about him. Everyone still remembers him. And pay attention. The verb to honor is a physical action verb and a mental action verb. If you want to honor someone by giving him something, it's going to be a physical action verb. If you're going to honor someone by remembering him, it's going to be a mental action verb. Now, let's move on to the vocabulary, which is too easy. Okay. Here he says, choose the correct answer. What does summer mean? Does it mean bright, shining? It means dark or gloomy, exactly, okay? The night he was riding his steed, it was a summer night. What does fearless mean? Of course, here you have we have talked last year and this year about the affixes. We have the prefixes which come at the beginning of the word and the suffixes which come at the end of the word. Here we have the suffix less, which means the opposite, okay? Fearless, it's the opposite of fear, so it's going to be bravery, okay? It means brave. Lingers. You remember when I told you about my aunt? The one who is always, when someone is sick in my family, she's going to linger in the hospital. And please, let's go. No, I'm going to wait. He's not going to be like better if you're going to wait here. We have to go. Doctors and nurses, they have to work. So to linger is to stay in a place more than needed. Especially you're going to become like annoying, okay, people. That's to linger. We have used this verb when we have talked about Paul Riveri lingering under on the other show, I'm sorry, lingering or waiting for the signal. Okay, he stayed there more than needed. Why is that? Because we needed him to go to start like going. Okay, we don't have enough time. He has to go. Okay, to spread the news. That's why we use the verb to linger. So he was riding the steed and spreading the news all over the cities. Of course, a steed means a camel, huh? Or a car, or a bird, huh? Are you paying enough attention to teacher? Nawaf al-Haqabani. A steed means a horse. It's a horse. He magnified the picture. So to magnify is to make larger, of course, to maximize. Okay, to magnify is the opposite of to minimize. Not to make it smaller, it's to make it larger. Now choose the correct answer. Here we have checkers or chess. Dominoes, 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 of course. Number 1 and number 2 are both correct, but the exam you're going to have only one. Number 2, employees, workers. We have the word that ends with an F, stuff. So most of the people are going to say, change it into VES, stuffs. Wrong. It's an irregular plural. It becomes stuffs. You only add an S. I only have 1 minute to finish, so I'm going to move on to another video. Part 2, please go to part 2.